Hello and welcome back to the Mixed Concepts channel. Welcome to the channel. So based on the title, if you clicked on it, you would see that I said how USA and Italy can make the 2027 Cricket World Cup ODI version. Yes, for those of you who don't watch cricket and stumbled upon this video, there are two different World Cup formats. One is a T20 World Cup, which is 20 overs per each team, and the ODI World Cup, which I'm going to talk about, is a 50 overs per each team. That's a much longer game, of course, because it's 50 overs. Anyway, so how can USA make the 2027 Cricket World Cup? Yes, I said cricket, not football. USA and Italy USA did make the 2026 Football World Cup, FIFA World Cup. Italy haven't yet. Hopefully they finally do. If they don't, then that's unfortunate. Anyway, so how can USA and Italy make the Cricket World Cup in 2027? Well, let's start with USA. USA's situation it's going to be a tough road for sure. And I actually know about it because I'm a US cricket fan. Uh, and I know how it goes. So obviously they were in the 2019 to 23 qualification cycle. Oh, by the way, I want to give a lot of credit to this user from Wikipedia. I think the name was Vestrian24bio. Not sure if I said the name correctly. I will leave the person's ID in the description. So do check the diagram out at your own pace if you want to know more about the entire qualification progress for all the teams involved in this 2023 to 2027 qualification cycle. Anyway, so back to USA. They were in the previous qualification cycle here. They actually made it to the World Cup qualifier in 2023. They played in that last year. I'm recording this on October 10th, 2024. So this is why I said last year in 2023. They did make it to the qualifier. They did not win a single game. They were very bad for the tournament, ended bottom. That doesn't matter. Because if they wanted to make last year's Cricket World Cup, they had to win the qualifier, or at least make the final, be in the top two spots. They were nowhere near that, so that was a bit unfortunate, but okay, that's okay. Though hopefully they can do it this time in 2027. So they were a part of League Two in the last cycle, and they're in this League Two cycle even in 2023 to 27. Now I did make a video about this, and I think a few days back, about a week maybe, where I mentioned how USA have had a decent start so far at League Two cycle. Yeah, they're currently second. They've won 6 out of 8 games, but it is a 36 game cycle. Yeah, they play 36 games, so they have 28 more games to go, and they will have to be consistent throughout. They have 4 more this month, later this month, in a tri-series. Anyway, so the hope is that, as a USA cricket fan, that USA can be in the top 4 of the 8 teams in League Two. So the 8 teams are USA, Canada, Netherlands, Scotland, Namibia, Nepal, Oman, and UAE. So out of these 8 teams, if USA can end in the top 4, they will go directly to the World Cup qualifier. So that's good. You don't have to worry about not even making the qualifier altogether. Now, for those teams that do not make it in the top 4, they'd have a second chance in the qualifier playoff. So even if USA do not end in the top 4, they will have a second chance, but that will be a much trickier situation to deal with because it will be another 8-team tournament playoff, and playoffs are always tricky because all it takes is a few bad games and you don't be in the top half and you're pretty much out of contention. So that's how USA can make it. Currently in League 2, hopefully be in the top 4. They'll make it to the qualifier. And then to make it to the World Cup, they need to be in the top 4 teams of this qualifier. And yeah, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, being top 4 out of 10 teams. But if you want to make the Cricket World Cup as an associate nation or a non-test playing nation, you're going to have to do it. Yeah, that's how the road is for USA. I mean, of course, if they end up playing in this tournament, the qualifier playoff, well, it's an 8-team tournament. They're going to have to be top 4 in this tournament to even advance to the qualifier, and then they need to be top 4 in the qualifier to advance to the 2027 Cricket World Cup. So that's the road for USA. It's a long road, of course, because first of all, 36 ODIs need to be played in League 2 before we know the final verdict of where USA ends up in the League 2 table amongst the 8 teams. Hopefully in the top 4 so that we can directly go to the qualifier. Yeah, so that's how USA can make it to the qualifier and then the World Cup. Well, for Italy though, the road is much, much longer because they actually almost not even made it to Challenge League. So they were in the 2019 to 2023 qualification cycle. So any Italian watching this, your team does have a cricket team and they did have a chance kind of to make the 2023 Cricket World Cup. But in the Challenge League, they were in the bottom 4 teams. Yeah. I think I was out of 12 teams, I believe, and they were in the bottom 4. So because they were in the bottom 4, they actually had to play in the Challenge playoff. And this right here eliminated 4 teams from a potential chance at playing in the 2027 Cricket World Cup. Yeah, Italy played in this tournament. This is the only mistake in this diagram because it was actually the next 4 teams in T20I rankings instead of just the next 2. So that was actually an 8-team tournament, and in that 4 advanced to the Challenge League. All these games that are being played are 50-over games, so they take easily at least 7 hours. Yes, it's a long game, but that's the beauty of it as well. Anyway, so Italy had to play in the Challenge playoff. They were in the top 4 teams of that Challenge playoff, so they made it to the Challenge League. So that's where they are right now. Their first games in Challenge League will be next month in November 2024. Yeah. So their Challenge League actually consists of 2 groups, unlike League 2 where it's just one group with 8 teams in the table. The Challenge League is 2 groups. Each group has 6 teams. That's how there's 12. So Italy has 5 other teams in their group. So how can they progress from the Challenge League? Well, they gotta hope to be in the top 4 of the Challenge League right here. And how do you be top 4? Well, you've got to be in the top 2 of your specific group. So Italy, they need to be in the top 2 of their group, either first or second out of 6 teams. I don't remember all the countries that are there because I'm not really an Italian cricket fan. But yeah, that's how they could make it to the qualifier playoff. They cannot, unfortunately, Italy cannot make it directly to the qualifier without going past the qualifier playoff. Yeah, that's a bit of a disadvantage for them, I know. So that's what Italy have to do first. They would have to be in the top 2 of their group in the Challenge League to advance to the qualifier playoff. And then once they, assuming they actually are top 2 in their group, then they will be in the qualifier playoff where there are 8 teams in this tournament. and then they need to be in the top 4 of the qualifier playoff to make it to the final qualifier, the World Cup qualifier. So that is how Italy can make it to the qualifier. And then, obviously, you need to be top 4 in the World Cup qualifier, the final qualifier, to actually make the Cricket World Cup. Yeah, the road for Italy is much more grueling than the road for USA for the 2027 Cricket World Cup. But Italy are not as bad. They've got a few players who've genuinely played good cricket, like Joe Burns. He used to play for Australia. Australia are the current Cricket World Cup champions. They did win in 2023. So he's a pretty good player. They also have they have a couple of county players. I know they're old. They're out of their prime playing years, but they're still decent players. So you never know. If they're willing to play for another 4 more years, then Italy may have some chance to make it all the way to the World Cup. That would be some story if Italy make it to the Cricket World Cup. Yeah, of course, as I said, it's not going to be easy for them because they have to go through 2 tournaments to try and make it. I mean, they first got to play in the Challenge League and hope to be in the top 2 out of 6 teams. That's a challenge because one of the teams they play against is Uganda. Yeah, that's one of the teams I remember seeing. Uganda is going to be a difficult team to beat because they're actually pretty decent. They beat Zimbabwe and made this year's T20 World Cup. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for them, of course, and then obviously the 4 other teams they play. So it's definitely a long road for Italy, but they at least got past the challenge playoff. They were in this tournament. So had they not finished top 4 of the Challenge League playoff tournament, they would have not even made it to Challenge League, which means their chance of making the 2027 World Cup would have come to an end this year. It would have already been done, but at least they made it to the Challenge League, so their hopes are still alive. So that's it. That's how USA and Italy can make the 2027 Cricket World Cup ODI format. Yeah, I mean, the process is the same for every other team in League 2 and Challenge League, so yeah, it's the same process, just it's your different team. Instead of USA and Italy, you could say maybe Canada and Denmark. Yes, Denmark's in the Challenge League. There you go. You could say Canada and Denmark, for example. Yeah. Anyway, that is the end of this video. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, please like the video. Thank you for watching till the end. And also huge shout out to Vestrian24Bio. I don't remember the ID exactly, but shout out to you for making this diagram. It's a really helpful diagram to explain how a team can make it to the 2027 Cricket World Cup as a non-full member nation. It kind of helps out. Yeah. So thank you for the diagram as well. And to the viewers, any of my viewers, thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until the next video, bye.